Hello, everybody, and we're live. Been a minute since we've been live, and I wanted to talk about a few things that are going on and update the space with what's about to happen here. So I got a list of some cool lessons over there on the whiteboard that we're going to talk about in a second. But as you can see, this is a kind of a different look than the previous setup I had. Now everything's still in the same place, but I've got I'm about to pack all the stuff up because I'm moving. I'm moving to a different apartment, and I'm going to reset up a new studio in a little bit different of a method, and we're going to see what it looks like. But we're always trying to learn how to use our tools to accomplish our goals. And as you can see, I'm trying to learn about lighting and setting up cameras and adjusting your exposure and all that stuff. So hopefully this starts to look a little bit cooler and we get better sound, better audio as we move forward. So that is the current situation that we got. And so let's talk about the few things that I learned over the past 3 weeks, because I don't think I've done a video in about 3 or 4 weeks. The first thing that I want to talk about is smaller square footage can actually be more difficult depending on what kind of house you're designing for somebody. So I was speaking to another designer, and one of the things they talked about was if you have a customer approach and they want, let's say, a 5-bedroom house, then that is pretty cool. But if they ask for a 5-bedroom house in 500 square feet, your job is actually more difficult. And when I say difficult, I'm gauging difficulty in terms of what is like mental effort. So if I have to design somebody a house and I have 5,000 square feet to give them 5 bedrooms, it's going to be very easy to make that all work. So the basic idea is that people are, if they ask for too many things in a small amount of space, then it actually makes work, excuse me, more difficult. So that was an interesting lesson, was that it's not like a 500 square foot design job versus a 10,000 square foot design job is more or less difficult. There's some other factors in there. Like if you're designing a 10,000 square foot house, you're probably designing it for a certain type of person who can afford a 10,000 square foot house. And those types of projects tend to come, they bring with them different attributes, different things that are going to make the project more or less difficult. So just keep that in mind. The square footages are tied to certain types of things sometimes, and that's just kind of is what it is. But it's just an interesting thing that I picked up on that was shared with me. So that was the first thing: is smaller square footage projects are not always easier per square foot, if that makes sense. So the other thing was, somebody made a comment. I forget where I heard this, but the comment was that mere exposure is more important than actually being good. Now, if you're in business and your product is not good, then you're going to have a hard time. Eventually, people are going to find out and they are going to work against you. Word of mouth is going to work negatively against you. So there's only so much you can do. You can outsell, you can outmarket your negative word of mouth, but at the end of the day, your business is not going to grow because people they don't like what you're doing. And so have a good product. But the interesting thing here is if you have a list of a bunch of warm leads, you could spend a bunch of time and energy trying to make those leads warmer or make your product better or try to resell those leads on your idea. But the reality is that if you just maintain presence of mind with these people and you keep them you want to be at the forefront of their mind when they need a solution, and that will be more effective than trying to resell them on an idea or something like that. So all I try to do when I'm doing what I'm doing here is continuously find more ways to give value to people that are in my network and give the value. That's what I'm trying to figure out, trying to do. So if you're in some place where you're trying to sell a service or something and you've got all these warm leads and it's been 6 months since you've talked to any of them, it would not be a bad idea to think of something that would be valuable to them. Like, don't just call them up and say, "Hey, are you ready to buy now?" Or, "Hey, are you ready to pay for my services?" Like, that's not helpful. What is helpful is just finding something valuable to give, and then like giving it, because because the reality is, if you're in that process and you already have all those leads and you have the time to be contacting them, you also have the time to be like actually making value of some kind. Therefore, you might as well take the time that you have to produce something valuable and give it away for free, because it's like, it's all gonna, it's all part of the value equation and the balance and the business and the network it's all part of that. So the more value you give and generate to the world, the more useful you're going to be. And that's, people are going to want to work with people who are useful and can solve problems. So that was kind of interesting. So what I did is I took, I am almost all the way through the Hormozy outbound process through all of Texas. I've got like 50 leads left out of like 1,000. And I realized that now, after going through this process, I have this huge warm lead list, and I also have a much bigger like actual customer list. And one of the things I was trying to figure out how to do was how to give more value. And if this works for any business nowadays. If you are trying to find a way to give value, social media and content production is one of those things that you can never have too much of. It doesn't matter what business you're in, doesn't matter what you're doing. Most people need, excuse me, burping here. Most people need a social media presence. And I would argue all businesses need it. Therefore, well, what do you need to have a social media presence? You need social media content. You need video production. You need clips. You need videos. You need interviews. You need all this stuff. And the more present someone can be on social media, the more someone can approach a business and be like, oh, okay, like maybe they are sourced from social media, that's a great reason to have good social media, or they're just a person who found you and they want to check you out on social media, because it's just, everybody's got to have it. Therefore, if you are personally trying to go give value to somebody, social media is one of the easiest hacks to like know something that's going to be valuable out of the gate. And so if you can, I mean, everybody has a phone nowadays. This camera right here, that is not a DSLR. That's not a mirrorless camera. It's not anything like that. That is an iPhone. So if you can find ways to go film content and like, hey, let's say I'm in the building industry, right? So I could think of something like, oh, I've got a phone. If I got a microphone or like a second phone I can use as like this is my microphone or whatever, depending on what equipment you have, you can go out there and say, hey, Mr. Builder, like, I just want to help you film a piece of, let's just go film a short, like at your job site. I'll just meet you wherever you're at, and I'll just ask you about what's going on, and you can show it. And let's make a little video, and we'll call it a collab, and we'll post it as an Instagram reel, Facebook, whatever. But it's just a really easy way to be connecting and giving value with these people in your network, especially if you already have the time to be doing it. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Now I have a little bit different of a setup here. I am very heavily investing into the technology and the level of content that I can produce. I'm trying to figure out all the camera stuff. Right now, no fancy cameras, just 2 iPhones. This is my old phone. So that's currently where that's at. I have some, oh man, hopefully that static is not coming through the live stream. We'll find out. So yeah, depending on what you have, you can change what kind of things you can do. Now, I happen to have been producing this stuff for a long time. I'm very comfortable doing this, and I want to kind of do a podcast style interviews. That's the thing I'm doing currently. I'm going to use these tools for other purposes as well, but you can do whatever. So that's the thing. Go give some value to somebody. Next thought is, I would argue for any business, the worst thing, not the worst thing, but let's say you sell balloons, right? and somebody approaches you and you're in a place where you're trying to make money because you're a business and you're trying to sell your balloons, and somebody approaches you and says, "Hey, I would like to buy balloons." And you say, "Great, I'll sell you balloons." And the type of balloons you have are hot air balloons. Those are the types of balloons you sell. You don't sell like party balloons. And they're like, "Awesome, I would like 20 balloons, please." And you're like, "Wow, that's a lot of hot air balloons. Sure, I'll sell you 20 hot air balloons." And they give you the money, and it's a lot of money. And they're like, "Wow, that must be some really great balloons I'm getting." And then you give them the hot air balloons. And if there's some kind of miscommunication along the way, which there likely would be between the price of a hot air balloon and the price of a party balloon, then they're going to get something that they weren't expecting. And depending on how good you communicate with somebody, they may or may not even say anything. They might just be like, "Oh, wow, like this is what I bought." They might just disappear and never tell you or give you feedback that like, "Hey, that's not what I wanted." Or they might be super upfront and direct and be like, "Oh yeah, that's not what I wanted. Don't please refund me. I accidentally bought the wrong thing that I didn't want, or I didn't know what I needed, or whatever." Right? So the lesson here is that it is better to not work with someone than to sell them on something they don't need. And that's kind of from an ethics perspective. It is also from a quality of business perspective. I would rather learn how to pick out the customers that I'm good at designing for and draw for those people and find more of those people than not do that and find some other like like there's different kinds of design, and there's different, like someone comes to me and wants to design a 50,000 square foot mansion. I don't have all of the design skills required to be able to solve all of the problems that would go into a 50,000 square foot mansion. I have a lot, right? I'm very good at structures. I'm very good at framing. I'm very good at technicals. I'm really good at those kinds of things. My plans are clean, that kind of stuff. But what I lack is some of the, like, if someone's building a 50,000 square foot mansion, I'm sorry, but it's going to be really nice. There's going to be a lot of special finishes. There's going to be a lot of special construction techniques, a lot of glass, most likely, right? There's a lot of things that I don't know enough about. Therefore, it is incumbent upon me to give people the most value by only working for the people that I can't help the most. And everybody else that I'm helping with my lesser set of skills, I'm not doing them a disservice, but I'm doing a disservice to all the other people that I could have helped. Oh my gosh, one of these days I'll stop coughing. So that is another little lesson here. Quick shout out, since we have chat shout outs now. I'm not doing pre-records. We got Mr. Wyatt MG in the chat. Hello, Mr. Wyatt MG. Good to see you, sir. Hell yeah, buddy. I've been loving doing my interviews lately. Just fun in general. Yeah, guys, go check out Wyatt's channel. He has been doing these great interviews with other construction fellows in the California area. If you're somebody who wants to learn a nice broad sense of construction and get a lot of context behind things, those are great interviews. You ought to go check him out. Those are awesome. We got Jenna Nelson in the chat. Hello, Jenna. How's it going? Hi, happy Friday. That's right. Happy Friday, everybody. It is Easter weekend. And you know what we do on Easter weekend? We work more. But really, though, cool. Good to see you, Jenna. Green Observer. Hello, Green Observer, the one and only. I actually didn't use any music to do an intro here, but I will I'm going to have to re-upload that, preload that stuff into StreamYard again because I'm doing this again. Good to see you, Green Observer. What's up, everybody? And clearly, Jenna is excited to see the Green Observer, who apparently has this other name. Might be Daniel, or maybe she's referring to Wyatt. Maybe she's calling Wyatt Daniel. We don't know. We don't know who's who out here. It's an ambiguous world. Anyways, so we got those lessons here. So yeah, again, last lesson there was the worst thing you can do as a business is draw or not draw. Certainly as a business is get a client that you're not supposed to get, because they're going to give you money, and if you are not able to give them the best thing, that can be bad in the long term. Also, next lesson here. So to the right people, effort is positive. All right. So to the right people, effort is positive. Let me give you an example on both sides of this. So if as an extreme example, if you have a gun and you're going to rob a store, the clerk is not necessarily interested in you giving more effort. So that is the case where it's not positive. However, in a lot of other cases, effort is perceived as positive, mostly because effort is something that it shows intent. It shows how much you want something to be solved. It shows energy. It shows all these great things. And so the example I'm bringing up is, as I was cold calling, one of these things in this Hormozy outbound system is you have 8 days of reaching out to a person. And that means there's, I think, 6 phone calls in there. There's phone calls, there's text, there's email, and calls. Yeah, those are the things. The 4 things: calls, text, email, and calls. That's what's in it. So those things are what you got to do. Now, if you were going to be contacted by somebody 8 days in a row, most people, like, when I give them a call, they're like, oh yeah, Washington number or whatever, spam, like go away, whatever. When that happens 8 days in a row, people see it, right? You can't really ignore that. And one of the things that I often have these doubts in my mind about as I'm learning this process and learning business, learning about how the world works, is to the right people, effort is positive. Some people, when they pick up the phone and they say, hello, and I start talking, they're like, oh, click, gone, right? And some people, when they pick up the phone and I start talking, they're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're the guy who's been trying to get a hold of me for like 7 days straight. Yeah, okay. What do you want about? Like, what are you offering here? And I'm like, hey man, I'm just trying to give you some free value. And when you get into that rabbit hole, you realize like it's positive. To the right people that you actually care about, it is positive. On that note, you shouldn't give a good golly dang what the people who don't care about you think about your method. For example, on an extreme level, for like friendships and important relationships with people, if they're not going to be at your funeral, you shouldn't give a damn what they think about your life and what you choose to do with your life. So applying that to business, very similar. If you're cold calling and 80% of the people you're going to cold call don't want your business, and they tell you to fuck off, like, okay, I'm going to call the next guy. So yeah, try not to get affected. I've been doing this now for, maybe 8 months. I think about 8 months. I've been cold calling for 8 months, and it's been quite a process. I will say, as a whole, in the world of cold calling or cold approaches, like to socially with human beings on the street, to be social, all very related skills. The like understanding sales and approach anxiety and offering value and having anxiety be like, well, what if they think I'm not cool, or all of those things? It's all packaged into the same set of skills. And at the end of the day, as Michael Sartain would say, he would say, if you're providing value, it's not weird, right? If you're providing value, it's okay. And so yes, it's okay to call someone 8 days in a row because you have something valuable to offer them, right? These models that we're making, people like these things. And every now and then somebody will get one in the mail that was free, right? They got a free one in the mail and they're like, oh, like this wasn't that cool. And that's the feedback that I get. And I'm like, okay, cool, great. We're done. You don't want to work with me? That's great. Awesome. And then some of them are like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing since sliced bread. So you don't know. You don't know what people are going. And we care about the people that care. We don't care about people that don't. All right. We care about them as human beings, but we don't care about them, their business opinion. So anyway, to the right people, effort is positive. So try hard. And then the last little thing here, I actually got a little piece of feedback that the customer name and address. So on the cover sheet of an architectural set of plans, this, like, the cover sheet is the first big piece of paper that you see. It's got a nice 3D drawing. It's got some totals and stuff. And big text that says the name of like the residence or the name of the project. I got some feedback from a builder, and let me tell you, whenever somebody's on the phone and you can get them to open up about a conversation and it sounds like they want to talk about it, if you can get them rolling on it, oh my goodness, you are going to get some free advice, free feedback on how to do your job better. And I will tell you, as a designer who has called 1,000 builders plus, some people will just say, hey, my current designer does this and I don't like this. I don't like it when he does this. So guess what I'm going to do? Not that, right? And so I get to learn all this wonderful feedback from other people's mistakes, and it's just great. So the thing was, now everybody's different, but for this particular builder, having both the customer name and the address on the cover sheet is super helpful. And the reason for that is when you're building a house and you're working with the customer, you're speaking to them by their name. That's how you know the project. When you're speaking to the subs, and this is contextual to obviously wherever you're doing this, and people do things differently. But for this particular builder, all of the subs refer to the projects by address. And that makes sense because most of the subs aren't going to keep track of the customer's names. They know what street address they're going to do their job. And I will actually vouch for that. As an engineer, all the projects were by address. So internally to the engineering firm, they were by project number, but everywhere else, it was just known by the address. So usually just the street name. But anyway, so it's helpful if you have both customer name and address on the same sheet to a builder, because now the builder can connect the dots. Every time they see the plan set, they're like, oh yeah, this one. So they know what their subs are talking about and they know what the customer is talking about. So that's pretty nifty. Back to the chat here. Man, I miss having a chat. I don't know why I stopped doing this. Green Observer says my cover has been blown. Again, no idea what he's talking about there. Don't have a single clue. Jenna was referring to Sam's alter ego. That's right. I have an alter ego. Rapid City is looking amazing. I appreciate that, Jenna. Thank you. That is Rapid City. If y'all don't know what I'm referring to, it's going to keep growing. These are projects that Rapid Designs has designed. What I had in the very beginning of doing this was I had a wall of all of the 3D models I was printing, and it was for all those builders, all the free ones I was doing. And I realized these are plans of other people. And yeah, it is kind of cool to have a wall of designs, but it's cooler to have a wall of designs that are mine, or, shout out Daniel, other people's designs as well. So yeah, I've got some more on the table right here, but the news is that we are packing up. I'm doing this live stream right here. And then as soon as I'm done, I'm going to start packing up all this equipment because I'm moving apartments. We're going to reset up a new studio. Allegedly, we might have an interior decorator, wink, wink, you know who you are, coming to visit the new Rapid Designs studio to help set up Rapid Design City in the new place. It took a minute to set up this light and get it to look just right. So I'm a rapper. Apparently I didn't even know it. Yeah. So we got more houses. They're sitting here on the table. I'm not going to put them up because I'm going to have to take them back off. And the sticky thing sticks to the wall better than the actual plastic sticks to the card stock. So I got to be careful when I get these off. I got to put a knife behind them and pry it off carefully. Anyway, so that's all going on. It's good to be live again, guys. I'm going to stay away from the pre-recorded stuff, and you're going to see some cool stuff. I know the last podcast I released was not construction related necessarily, but let me tell you, when I say I've got 8 different builders now in the queue that are scheduled out over the next few months to do podcasts, I've got them. So those will be coming your way. I'm going to try to switch back to doing live streams, both because it's more engaging. You guys can show up and ask questions, especially with these builders. Hopefully that's more useful than just pre-records, as well as it's useful to me because a little bit of prep is worth, what's the phrase? An ounce of prep is worth a pound of cure, something like that. So me being prepared to do a live stream and handle this and knock it out live, it's already being produced as I'm doing this. And I've got some cool tech for you guys. I don't have it hooked up, but this is my second camera and I have a switcher back behind me that I can use to switch between the two. So I'm going to set all that up in the new studio coming your way. And yeah, so that's what we're doing. I think I had a thread that was going on before that, but I forget what it was. So, oh, Mr. Eugene, shout out to Eugene. Glad to be here. Good to see you, Mr. Eugene. Sam, do you include kitchen design in plan sets? You know, that's a great question. Yes and no. One of the things that I do that is different, also, feel free to steal my ideas, all you designers out there, because you can't work as hard as me, and so you can't keep up. But if you get better because of me, I think that's awesome. So here's my idea. This is what I'm doing as a business. Spill them secrets, guys. When I'm on a sales call with somebody, the thing that closes most people is the fact that I might copyright this phrase or something at some point, but I was actually on a call with another designer, and she was like, oh, you're doing this thing. And she gave it a name, and the name really stuck, and I really like it. And she called it real-time rendering. And that's special because in most cases, when people get the 3D rendered view of something that they're designing, it's like a photo, a snapshot. It's something that's produced from the plans that they're reviewing. What's different about my process is I use Chief Architect, which is not special. Lots of people use that. But nobody seems to want to drive the software and show people live on a call in a meeting and then fix the model like in front of them. And that could be a few reasons. The first thing I would think about is that it's hard and it's stressful. So that's the first reason, because you need to be able to interpret what somebody's asking for, understand what they want changed, be able to change it really fast, live on the spot in front of them while they're watching, and just be confident that you're fixing it correctly. So that's required, right? So we have very high level designers with high skill levels when we do this, but also, it's just like, it's kind of just anxiety provoking. So the biggest thing that I learned was that if I just design a house for somebody in 3D and they interact in 3D, they're never actually reviewing the plans on paper. This is the paper and these are the plans, right? They're never seeing a PDF until the end, right? So my job is, and I tell people this differentiates me, I guess. And I was like, hey, I'm a designer and your people are going to have your house totally approved before they even see the plans. They're like, what? What does that mean? And I'm like, let me tell you. Do you have time to get on a Google Meet call? Because I could show you. And then I just show them and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Why am I not doing this? So there's a place for it. It's not for everybody, but that's the thing. That's my secret. So if y'all want to take that and run with it and make lots of money, there's lots of money out there for everyone to make. It's a big world. So that's awesome stuff. So to answer your question, Eugene, do I include kitchen design in plan sets? People see their kitchen in 3D when they work with me. Is it flawless? Is it exactly like it's going to be? Is it high fidelity rendering? No. I will apply textures and materials that will get it close if they want to pay for that. But most of the time, everything's just default settings, and they're going to see the shape of their cabinets, their hood, their stove, their island, whatever's in the kitchen. They're going to see all that in 3D. They'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'm going to say, you are going to redesign this and refine this later with your cabinet designer or your millwork guy, with the builder. That's going to happen again later. So if you like, you can pay me to go into detail with this now and we can design this now. And then you can pay again for the same service later, or you can only pay once. And most people are like, well, I'd like to pay once. And I said, great. Then don't worry about it with me right now. If this is close enough, that's all it needs to be. I'm a construction documents guy. I am not an interior designer. So I will show interior elevations in my plans if they request it. Most of the time I don't, because it can save me time, which saves people money, and people like saving money. So yeah, that's my answer, is yes and no. I show people what they want to see and they give me money for it. Wyatt says, dude, I'm pumped. Thank you, Mr. Wyatt. I am also pumped. Quite literally, but you couldn't tell because I did legs and that's out of the frame. So, happy moving day. That's right. Moving day is coming. Studio Shed, and I do it on all our client calls and everyone loves it. Studio Shed. Oh, Wyatt, are you saying that you have a 3D software that you're showing clients the studio shed in 3D before they buy? That'd be cool. Let me know. Let me know in the chat if that's what you're doing, because that is awesome, man. 3D salespeople. And here's the crazy part: is that's just the way the world is moving. And he says yes. Awesome. He says yes. Good. So the fun part is that people like Wyatt and I are going to enter into this world, and that's going to become the new minimum. All of the, I will tell you right now, I'm not going to say I put people out of business, but I have people that give me work. By definition, that means that work is no longer going to other people. Take that to an extreme, and it means that the people that are not growing and learning and trying new things and doing things faster and better, those people are going to go out of business eventually. Oh, you're going to have some kind of loyalty and, other stuff. Business will just slow down. But yeah, the times of the 70-year-old dude drawing plans on paper are going away. The only reason that exists right now is because of loyalty and like dudes that have been building houses that are, they're friends for 40 years. And like, that's a great thing. I'm not here to step on people and ruin relationships. I'm just here for people to, if they want a service that's faster and better, they can pay for it. So that's why I'm here. All right, folks, that's all I got. This has been fun. I enjoy hanging out with all you guys. This is great. We're going to do more of this. And keep an eye out, because I'm opening up a second YouTube channel that's going to be directed towards social life stuff. And it's going to be very different content than what we do on this show here. So if you're here for pure entertainment, then I'll let you guys know about that. Yeah, starting a new little thing there. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. But thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Good to see everybody. And we're going to take it out, unfortunately, without any Green Observer music, because I don't have any loaded up. But yeah, we'll take it out with silence. Maybe I'll sing a song. I don't know what song to sing. Here's a little song I wrote.